taking the engine off, and now we're doing all the fun stuff. So here's the engine. I got the old head off, the old cylinder off. You've seen it already. I have this Polini Team Garelli cylinder. It's got a reed block. It's, I mean, super nice. Polini. Only problem is it's not made for this engine. It's made for the NOI horizontal engine. However, people have successfully put it on this engine. So if other people have done it, that means I can probably do it. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that I have all of this off, is I'm going to start test fitting. I can already tell I've got to cut this fin because there's no way it's going to clear that. But then we'll check the bore and the stroke and see if I've got to squish it or what I've got to do to get this thing to fit. Alright, I might give it just a touch more right there. Alright, so even to get this thing to fit at all, I'm going to have to cut that off. Let me do that now. No, I need a little tiny bit more off, I think, just to get right there. I'm trying to make sure I tape this thing up every time I've got metal shavings going anywhere near it, just to be safe. And this part is just standard. Make sure everything's well lubed. Take your time. Put it on right. Do you like this rubber gasket? Here's how I made it. Okay, when I say I mean my wife. But I bought this 1/8 inch heat resistant silicone, and my wife scanned the paper gasket that came with the cylinder and then plotted it out on her computer and then cut it out on her sweet ass Cricut cutting machine. And look how well it worked. Beautiful. This gasket is compressible, so it gives me a little leeway in the squish, and I can use 2 if I need to, or take it off if I don't need it, but this just gives me that flexibility to make sure that I can get that cylinder in the exact right spot up top, and as it turns out, it worked perfectly. Oh, that's perfect. Alright, so that's pretty much on. You know, I gotta torque it down, and I'm probably gonna pull this off at least once or twice more. It looks like it's going absolutely perfect. So in keeping with my Italian build here, I've got this Malossi reed block. I'm gonna have to put this reed block on here, and then this will go like that. And then that'll go like that. I gotta fabricate a plate that'll attach to the cylinder and then also allow the reed block to attach. They do sell one of those on Treat. It's called like the Trick Metric adapter plate or whatever. But they don't have any in stock, so I've got to make it. All right, and this is just regular 5/16 or 8 mil aluminum. Just marking her out and cutting her down to size. Precision is key here, and I need to find the exact center of those holes. So I found the right center punch and then built some washers up with that exact same diameter to give me a runway to get to the exact right spot. I drilled 4 holes on the corners of the actual air intake spot, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to clear the material. And the winner, as it usually is a Dremel tool. Now it's just a shit ton of filing. Trying to get this thing nice and square. Done. Man, that took a long time. The screws that hold this plate onto the cylinder will need to be absolutely perfectly flush so that they don't hold the reed block from sealing. So I took my time countersinking these screws and making sure that they fit absolutely perfectly. Now I'll need to precisely center punch the threaded holes that will hold the reed block onto this plate. Alright, I gotta tap these holes for 5 millimeters, so I'm drilling it out. It's supposed to be 4.3. I have an 11/64, which is 4.37, which is close enough. So I'm drilling these bad boys out. Tapping holes is the kind of work that I absolutely love. You gotta be slow and careful and methodical, and I'm just happy doing it. And now I'm spending some time on the sander, just making sure that she's absolutely perfect and clean. The last step, since I'll be using paper gaskets to seal this thing up, is to sand it perfectly flat on the surface plate. How about that? You gotta admit, that's pretty freaking nice. Alright, I gotta cut off this bracket, unfortunately. I'm gonna pull off this gas tank too. Give me better access. This is the bracket that held the old coil on. I'm not gonna use it, and I need about 2.5 more inches for the new reed block and intake. And now just touching up that paint job. Gotta keep it pretty. So you can see the problem here. That's if it's totally mounted just right. And so, as soon as I put this in, I'm already fouling, and I've got another centimeter after that, and I'm already fouling on that thing. I gotta think about this. Alright, I think I got this figured out. So, you see, if I lean this forward, I can still make the 2 bolts here, and it's still in there good, but it's just not in that mounting hole, and I can get this thing to fit, and it fits nicely. What that means, though, is that I lose the pickup on this bolt. So what I think I'm going to do is make a bracket to come down. I got to drill out that little bit of it so I can still make that hole. Make a bracket to come down and pick that up there with this. You can see where I marked with white right there. That's got to get drilled out so I can still make the mounting hole. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Which means this engine's got to come off yet again. Also, I should have mocked all this crap up before painting. Lesson learned for next time. Beautiful. Alright, I have my brackets painted up. I'm going to go ahead, this thing isn't in for real yet. I'm going to pull all this out and Loctite everything up and get it in there for real, but I'm going to start placing the carburetor and everything, so I want the engine in for the most part. Alright, here we go. Time to fit on the new carb. I got one of these Dellorto PHBG ones. You know I love Makunis, but I'm trying to keep everything Italian on here, so I gotta go an Italian carb. Yeah, so this is the spigot style where you gotta use a hose clamp to get it on there. So, that's what I'm gonna do. That sticks out pretty damn far. Shit. There's absolutely no way this pedal's gonna clear. Alright, well maybe I can get a 90-degree bend. I just ordered a 90-degree silicone hose to make that turn to get it out of the way of the pedal. But it won't be here for 4 days, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and button it all up. Just get it all done. Everything except the hose and the carb. So the new PHBG Dellorto, this old throttle cable that was on the SHA, I mean that's how much room I have to work with, which isn't even close to being enough for the Dellorto. I think I need about at least another, I don't know, probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So, so I've got a new throttle cable, but I need to get it into the throttle, and then I'll need to cut it down so that it's the correct size for the bike, because this thing's long as heck. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this the throttle off so I can work on it right here anyway, and then I'll start hopefully figuring out how it works. All right. Maybe I don't have to take it apart. If you don't have a set of these cable tools and NARPs, you really should get one. I think I picked this up for 10 bucks on Amazon, and it's been a lifesaver. I'm not cutting this yet. Just until I get the carb all the way on and just make sure everything's working. I think it's fine, but better safe than sorry. Next thing is something fun. My new exhaust. Let's go to the other side. Oh, this thing is sweet. This thing is sweet. MLM pipe specifically made not only for this cylinder but for this application. So I shouldn't have to jerry-rig around too much. I should be able to fit it straight on the bracket, straight on the cylinder, and I gotta say it's gonna look freaking awesome. I love that. Yeah, this is my second MLM pipe. I have another one that I actually have for another build that's coming up, but I've used it on the Tomos and it rips. A little different than the Homoet. The Homoet is I think maybe a bit quicker off the line, but I think the MLM has a higher top speed and it sounds nasty. This one I don't think is going to sound as a side bleed, which are usually, I mean, a bit quieter, so it's actually what I'm hoping for. That thing lines up perfect. And it's threaded, so you don't gotta put a bolt at the end, I mean a nut at the end. That is freaking nice. Alright, so the pedal is fouling on the exhaust here. I need, I mean, probably 3/4 of an inch will clear it plenty. They sell one of those at Treats. They sell a pedal extender. It's like a 2-inch job, so that would be like out here, which I don't want. I think my plan is to put the lathe to work and see if I can make one of these things up. I'll try to make it first, and if I fail at making it, then I'll order it. I guess that's all I can do. It will be fun to get on my lathe a little bit. I'm always looking for reasons to use it. That sucks. I thought this thing was plug and play, but apparently I was wrong. Absolutely perfect, isn't it? This thing looks pretty damn professional. I'm happy about it. See if it gets it on there, no problem. All done. And no fouling.